I call on the adjourned debate on the motion for an address in reply. Louise Upston.
Debate on the motion for an address in reply to His Excellency the Governor-General's speech from the throne and the amendment proposed thereto.
My apologies. Louise Upston.
Mr Speaker, 75 days ago, New Zealand gave their support to the Right Honourable John Key in re-electing National to office. I want to take this opportunity to thank the people of the Taupō electorate for their increased support for me in my own area, and I pledge to continue my hard work in representing them. National's committed to building a brighter future where New Zealanders have the jobs, have the incomes and have the public services that we all aspire to. We started this work, Mr Speaker, in 2008, and with an increase in support in the recent election, we are happy to continue delivering this. One of the four main priorities over the next 3 years clearly is to build a more competitive and productive economy. And really what that means, Mr Speaker, is about growing our exports. That is the focus that we need to enhance. And it's very appropriate coming from the Taupō electorate where the main sources of employment come from farming, forestry and tourism, that this is very close to my heart. Part of our 120-point economic action plan is ensuring that we sell what the world wants, but that has to be at a competitive price. And so that's why we have this focus on an export-focused economy.
Order. I'm sorry to interrupt the member. Could members who are busy chattering please desist from doing so, and if they wish to, please go into the lobbies. Louise Upson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. What we know from conversations with people up and down New Zealand is that people want to see more jobs and they want to see higher incomes. But actually we know that those will come from having better international trade links, and that will lead to a stronger economy and create more jobs with higher incomes. And that, Mr Speaker, is one of the fundamental reasons that New Zealanders voted for a national-led government. Part of our strategy around those high-quality relationships is with emerging economies like China and India, as well as our more traditional trading partners. And we've had some conversations in the media in the last few weeks about our making the most of our free trade agreements, and in particular the one of China. Here in Parliament today we are recognising the Chinese New Year, and so I felt it important to make sure that we stress this point of how important they are to us. One of the things that's important to note, though, is that this focus needs to be clearly on the export sector and the tradable sector, because that's where the sustainable jobs will come from over time. We don't want to see what we saw under 9 years of Labour, which was an increase in the jobs in the non-tradable sector. So that's clearly why we have an export focus. And I want to give an example of a company in my electorate, a dairy processing plant that was opened in August last year that I took the Prime Minister to in November. It's called Miraka, which is Māori for milk. And it's a really interesting joint venture, Mr Speaker, because it combines the Māori landowners with strategic partners and investors that include the Māori Trustee, the Global Dairy Network, Vietnamese milk and dairy manufacturing company Vinamilk. So $90 million was invested in the electorate in this absolutely state-of-the-art milk processing factory. So their two key markets for their processed goods are customers in Asia and the Middle East. So it's been a fantastic example of a local business that is now employing 30 people that wouldn't have been employed otherwise, as well as $90 million that went into the construction of that milk processing plant. But there's some other aspects of it that I'm really excited about. And one of them is the fact that it is powered by renewable steam and electricity from the Te Warapaki Trust's nearby geothermal power station, which is a power station that is owned by the Trust and Mighty River Power. It's even better from an environmental perspective because what they also do is with their wastewater, it goes on to a neighbouring farmland. And the solid waste is being disposed on a worm farm. So this is a business, a local business, a Māori-owned business, 54% of it owned by Māori. There's a connection with a state-owned enterprise. They've got a fantastic environmental record. They are exporting our goods to the world. They are employing local people. And that's exactly what we want to see more of, not just in my electorate, Mr Speaker, but across New Zealand. We need investment. In this case, some of it has been foreign investment. And again, it's been something that's been debated at length over the last few weeks, and I was pleased that our Speaker of Economic Development, our Minister of Economic Development, spoke about that more today. Because actually, we don't talk enough about the benefits of foreign investment. If we continue to have New Zealanders, as we will for many years to come, demanding higher paid jobs, we actually have to look for foreign investment. And so that's why it's really important. And Mr Mallard might think it's not important to have foreign investment. Actually, I think that side of the House hasn't actually figured out what their position is on foreign investment, because it seems to change daily, or actually several times a day. And if I look at my electorate, we actually want to look at foreign investment. We want those opportunities that it brings. And part of it is that the sustainability of the jobs over time. And one of the things that I love about my electorate is the fantastic ideas that are generated. And I've just given you some examples with the Miraka dairy plant. And it's not just about having ideas and innovation, Mr Speaker, it's actually about delivering on those ideas. And so whether it's in high-value wood processing, whether it's alternative uses for geothermal energy, of which there are multiple examples in my electorate, new farming techniques, creating interesting trading relationships between nitrogen and carbon that we've seen in the south of the Taupo electorate, which is mitigating environmental issues, or whether it's software development. We have some world-leading businesses in Taupo that are born out of ideas, and they are exporting from their homes, their offices and their businesses on the side of our Great Lake. This side of the House knows what's important to those individuals and to those businesses, and knows that to get some of those businesses up and running and off the ground requires foreign investment. We actually want to encourage them, not discourage them, which is why I'm quite staggered by the fact that those on the other side of the House don't seem that interested in what the advantages of foreign investment will bring. We actually want to encourage those businesses to be based here. We've got to make sure that the resources are available to them, and we're looking at some exciting opportunities with geothermal energy. We've got to have the infrastructure available to them to keep things moving, and we need to ensure that our people have the right skills and access to capital for them to make it happen. Now, there's another example in my electorate of another dairy project that wasn't quite so successful, or hasn't been yet. They had the idea, they had the location, they were looking at jobs during construction and jobs during production. Very exciting for a small part of my electorate that doesn't have a lot of jobs currently, and would be very helpful to have this sort of opportunity. But unfortunately, there have been too many people who have been opposing it, the location, and really slowing the whole process down, which creates significant issues. Mr Speaker, I did want to touch on the Crayford Farms very briefly. For the people of my electorate, that is an exciting opportunity that those farms have finally been sold. So instead of languishing in the hands of the receiver, we will now see investment, we will now see jobs, we will now see the opportunities that investment in skills and training and capital development will provide. And it's so important that that sale means things can get moving, and it means that people in my area can be better off. And it was quite interesting because, we get the odd comment from the other side of the House about why this was not a good idea, but really I think they still continue to be confused, because we heard yesterday from David Parker the fact that in 3 years, 06 to 08, 4 times what we've approved in only the first term. So, kind of puzzling. I don't know if Labor wants new jobs. They obviously don't want any foreign investment, or at least they don't in this hour. And clearly they don't want better environmental practices on farm. Mr Speaker, we need to encourage the development of all our opportunities if we are to prosper. This is what will create the jobs long term that we want. This government is about less spending, less debt. It's about more investment, more exports and more jobs. That's what New Zealanders voted for 75 days ago, and that's what we will deliver.
Jacinta Ardern.
Mr. Speaker, I've been paying quite a